Your judge this morning is Clint Dimmitt from San Angelo, Texas. Clint and his family own and operate Dimmitt Livestock. Clint is a graduate from South Plains College as well as Texas Tech University with a degree in animal science. Clint was a member of the livestock judging team and the meat evaluation team. While at the college, and since, Clint had the opportunity to judge several livestock shows as well as various regional shows, state fairs, and junior nationals all across the United States. His favorite thing about judging is seeing the win and the hard work pays off for the exhibitors. Clint is thankful for the opportunity to work and excited to get started here at the Nebraska State Fair. Can we get Madison Kramer to the staging area, please? Madison Kramer to the staging area.
Well, good afternoon, folks, and a great way to get things kicked off here. I'm looking forward to a really, really good afternoon. And, man, I think a really, really good top trio, top 4 and 5 out here. I like a good deal, and there's parts and pieces, but when you start, weighing the positives, subtracting the negatives, the Cape Fronted Doe is the one that suits me best. When we start talking that one, I think she's got the look of the 1 and 2 with the power of the 1 and 3 and still blends and balances like from the side, especially versus the 1 in second. Again, I think there's more tuck and turn to her chest and her rib cage. I think that allows her to spread more mass, more dimension up her top and out of her hip. I think think she's just a shot more powerful today. Still combines it with a really, really good look. Now the one coming out second, man, love that one, the way her neckties out of her shoulder. That one's really, really good down her top line and out of her hip. That one in motion hits the chips with a whole lot of athletic ability there out of her hip and her hind leg. I like that a good deal. We get our hands on that one. Maybe just a little bit longer bladed up front. Maybe he's got a little bit more chest and breastbone that'll deem ideal. Just need to tuck that one up just a tick. And we could certainly switch the top two because I like that one just in terms of her looks, line, and levelness. I think she's a shot longer off of both ends than the one we got sitting here in 3. Hey, in terms of touch, tone, and handle quality, the one sitting in 3's got a whole lot of it. Big chested, big topped one that's very, very thick-ended. I like that doe, just brood doe power for me. I got to clean her up in her shoulder. I got to extend her out of her hip just ever so slightly. I think that'll allow her to balance up with a better image there from the side. No doubt about it. The one coming next is big, tall fronted, good looking there from the side. I like that about her. That's not what gets her beat when we get our hands on that doe of the top 5 out here. I think she's just the most closed up off of both ends. I need more pride. I need more power there. I like that one's look. I like that one's build. A good deal. Young man, we're going to round out the top 5 with another big chested, big ended one for me. I got to change that one in terms of her front knee, one that wants to get a little bit rounder and coarser about her blade. If we could fix that one's front third, I like her from there back. A really, really good deal. Just couldn't get by those front knees today. As we worked on down, we talked to them kiddos. Maybe not quite the same amount of pride and power there up on the top end of the class. Another really good set, top to bottom. Even better showman to get us kicked off here. Let's put our hands together. Let's congratulate them all. Good job.
Your first place goes to Arabella Rossmeyer. Second place goes to Natalia Scholl. Third place goes to Anders Bade. Fourth place goes to KM Showgoats. Fifth place, Camden Singer. Sixth place goes to Addison Fouch. Seventh place goes to KM Showgoats. Eighth place goes to Cora Fouch. Ninth place goes to Atlee Stroud.
Really nice set of 4 here in the next class. And I think the one that wins, if you can look past just maybe your curly hair coat, I don't think there's one that comes close to that one just in terms of her density, her feature, and her pry and power. I think her next level compared to the rest out here, that one's extra big and burly in terms of her forearm and her front foot. I think that lays the foundation for all of her power up top and out of her hip. That one stays really, really square and true. If I got to fix that one, maybe she's just a little bit plainer about her head. We talked about her curly hair coat, but that doesn't really bother me today. I like that one's extra density. I like that one's extra power up here in this set. One coming out next when we get our hands on them. Man, that one touches really, really good in just terms of touch, tone, and texture over her loin edge. That one's really, really fresh. I think that one's fresher chested and better in the way she balances there from the side than the ones we got out here in 3 and 4. Again, I like that one just in terms of her freshness up high. Her loin edge is bigger, broader, and square there than the rest of them we got out here in the class for me. And if we're going to beat that one today, I got to make her stouter down low in terms of her forearm and her front foot. I wish that'd correlate to a bigger back foot as well. I like that one from her knee and her hock up. A good deal. deal. One coming out here in 3 and 4 again. I think maybe just gets a little bit plainer right there about her chest and her breastbone. I got to clean her up front, smoother right there, but I like her in terms of her top line and her hip and hind leg, just a shot better than the one we got coming out here in 4. Again, just a little bit plainer one we got coming out here in 4. I got to fix her behind her shoulder. She's too weak for me. One that wants to stab her hind leg on the chips, just a shot too much. We need to make that one more fluid out of her rear too for me as well. Really, really good set here. Let's put our hands together. These kiddos are doing an outstanding job.
First place goes to Elsa Brugman. Second place goes to Anders Bade. Third place goes to Madison Kramer. Fourth place goes to Kaylin Lohman.
Really good trio here that, again, I think all have their parts and their pieces. You like a good deal. You maybe like to tweak a couple things on our class winner, but no question about it. Just in terms of width, density, and still balancing up with the look that I like there from the side, I think that one just does the best job. Versus the one in second, again, way more chest width, rib shape, and power there on the top side of our skeleton. I think we're bigger, broader there over our pin set. Got more wrap there to our stifle and fill it in there deeper and fuller about our lower twist. If I got to fix that one, we're a little bit short cannon and short out of our hip. I like to extend her off of both ends of her skeleton, but no question, big top, extra power. I like that one, just density, a good deal out here. The one coming next, I think just in terms of her lines, levelness, and freshness, she's the next best. One that's smooth in terms of her shoulder, one that's good in terms of her hip and her hind leg. Again, versus the one coming out here in 3, I think we're fresher right there in the way we tie in up front. I think we're smoother there in the way we design and just balance up there from the side. Again, not quite the same amount of just amped up width, power, and density there, the class winner, but I like that one just in terms of her functionality, her look, line, and levelness there from the side. A really big bodied, easy feeding one we're going to round out our trio with for me. I think that one just gets a little bit sloppy there in the way she handles her cover and condition on her today. I got to make that one level her out of her hip as well. Really nice trio. Let's put our hands together for them all.
Your champion yearling doe goes to Natalie Scholl. Your reserve champion goes to A.W. Boer Goats. And third place goes to Atlee Stroud. We have your spring doe kid and your fall doe kid champion drive.
We're bringing out our junior drive here in our commercial dough show. I think 2 class winners and 2 second places. You got to like a good deal. I think they bring their parts and their pieces we talked about. I think there's one that's just a shot more complete in the way they put it together. And then for reserve, I think it gets pretty close out here. Maybe one that's got just a shot more feature and density there. Maybe gets just a little bit plainer. And then I think we got one that's got just a shot more look. And I like that one's lines and levelness, and that one's freshness just a lot better today. And for me, I think that's what makes the difference. We're going to keep these 2 out of the first class together. They'll be your champion in reserve.
Your champion doe kid goes to Arabella Rolsmeyer, and your reserve champion goes to Natalie Scholl.
Really nice commercial dough show we've been able to have here today, and we got our 4 division winners and reserves out here. I think 4 of them that are certainly deserving of a big round of applause. If you're ringside, let's put our hands together. Let's congratulate our exhibitors on making it back out here. Again, as we start picking through them, I think there's one that just kind of combines what I like, just in terms of that one's look, that one's freshness, that one's body shape and balance there. I think she's just a shot better built than the other one here on the front line. I like that one just in terms of her growth and her maturity pattern. I think it gets closer there for reserve again. Maybe one that's got some extra shape. At the same time, I think one that's got just a shot more holes there. And so for reserve, I think we're going to use one that maybe just be a little bit longer bladed, maybe not quite as aggressive in terms of the tuck and turn to her chest, and her forerib is our champion out here. But again, I think when we talk basic build and functionality, I think she's just a shot better in terms of that growth pattern and the way she wedges. Those 2 out of the first division are my favorite. We're going to keep them together for Grand and Reserve. Great job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Was grand,
Okay.
and 4405 was reserve. So then Arabella Robsmeyer
Your grand commercial Boer goat, silver show. Your grand goes to Arabella Rolsmeyer, and your reserve goes to Natalie Scholl. We're going to take about a 10-minute break and get some pictures, and then we're going to come back and open up the ABGA Silver Show with Class 3204. Can I get Class 3204 to the staging area? Can I get Class 3206 to the staging area? 3206. I need Caitlin Kleineck to the staging area. Caitlin Kleineck.
Really, really neat class, and I think a really good class winner here. We're going to build around this kind today. That kind of look, that kind of build at the ground, I like it a good deal. That one's very, very functional. I think it's important. If they're not functional first, they're not going to last long out in production. No doubt about it. That one checks the boxes. I like that one's look versus the one in second. I like her in terms of her hip and her hind leg as she hits the surface. I think she's just a shot more comfortable there in terms of the set and angulation there. That one gets around the ring. She absolutely floats. That's a good look and a whole lot of power there on a good skeleton there to start. One coming out in second. On the standstill, I like her a good deal. One that's got a whole lot of power, one that's wide off of both ends of her skeleton. I think there's more dimension to her than the two we've got left out here for me. If we start getting critical, that one versus our winner, she gets just a tad bit rounder out of her hip and allows her to have more set into that rear third. Even though it's extra functional, I didn't know if it's quite as athletic as she gets around the ring. I like to make that one just a shot smoother there if she goes away in terms of her hawk and where it sets. The one coming out here in three, really good balance, good put together though. Facts are there's just not quite as much of her. I need to power up off of both ends of her skeleton. That one's just a shot shorter off of both ends. More time, more days on feed, maybe more just growth thing, and that one could certainly move up because I like her balance. I think she's better fit together than the one we got coming out here in four. Front 2/3 of the one in four, I like a good deal. Tall fronted, dead level there down her spine for me. Her hips too short and steep, and that correlates to her hind leg just being a little bit off. I need to make that one just a shot more comfortable as she gets around the ring. I like her front 2/3, a really, really good deal. Let's put our hands together. Let's congratulate them all.
In class 3204, first place goes to Garen Cooper. Second place goes to Rebel Mountain Ranch. Third place goes to Natalie Scholl. Fourth place goes to Garen Cooper. We have class 3206 coming in the ring.
Really good class, and again, I think one to land on that I like a good deal. That one's look is incredible, but that one's rib and body cage is just next level. If you could mass replicate that kind, just across the breed, guys, I think we'd be just moving forward very, very rapidly. That one is so big and broad behind her shoulder, but for having that much power, she lays it onto her scapula absolutely perfect. That one floats around the ring. That one handles like an absolute mammoth up top. That one's a big time contender. I like that one a good deal. After that, I think it gets a little bit closer. The red doe, I think, just checks the most boxes. That's a good balanced doe. If I got to fix her, I make her just a shot longer out of her hip, but I don't think that's a problem. I think she's plenty long, she's plenty functional there. In terms of the rest of the set, I think that's the good necked one that's still smooth enough in terms of her shoulder, extra width, extra body, and extra power versus the one here in 3. I love the front third and the silhouette the 1 and 3 represents. A stout skull, a smooth shoulder, a dead level top, a really, really good set to her hip and hind leg. Facts are she's just a shot shorter up front, just a shot shorter out back. I got to make that one bigger off of both ends of her skeleton, but I like just the true mass, true density, and true shape she offers. I thought we needed to keep her up on the top end of the class. The black doe coming out next, probably's got the most condition on her part for part, piece for piece today. At the same time, that's a big, dense, bold body female that can handle it. I like her skull shape. I like her bone. I like her feature. For me, that one just gets a shot rounder about her shoulder, maybe just a shot thicker about her neck and shorter out of her hip. I didn't know she balanced quite as good there from the side, not quite as functional there, maybe just in terms of her build, not quite as comfortable with the ground. The paint doe kind of dappled coming up next, one that's very, very good again through her mid body. I got to make that one's hip and hind leg. She's just too short and steep out of her hip. When we asked that one to get around the ring, she's just too choppy for me as she hits the chips. One going to round us out. Hey, that one's very, very good in terms of being good balanced and good bodied and level. At the same time, she's the shortest off of both ends, just the most closed up, not quite as much pry and power and just body shape as we see in the ones ahead of her today. I got to see more of that one just in terms of meat and muscle. Let's put our hands together. Let's congratulate them all again on a job well done.
Your class 3206. First place goes to Austin Pagel. Second place goes to Rebel Mountain Ranch. Third place goes to Caitlin Clinic. Fourth place goes to Caitlin Clinic. Fifth place goes to Tanya Brinkman. Sixth place goes to Natalie Scholl.
Single entry here in the next class. Young man's doing a great job on the front end of that one. Very functional, easy feeding type of female. Good through her center rib. One that's very, very hardy just in terms of her type and her kind. I like that one's longevity look there. Really nice single entry. Let's put our hands together for him.
Class 3208 goes to Iris Luth. Right now we have our junior doe kid champions coming in the ring.
Well, you guys certainly brought the good ones to town today, and I think it's very, very good. This first drive we've got out here, man, there's parts and pieces of these females I like a good deal. There's a pair of them that come to the top for me just in terms of checking the boxes of what I like. Man, I like that look. I like their build. I think just in terms of their difference, I think there's one that's got just a shot more natural feel to the rib cage today. One that's just so smooth there from every angle. Got extreme just tuck, turn, and just massive rib cage. Talking rib body and going all the way back to their stifle. That one just never misses a beat. At the same time, they handle it absolutely perfect in motion. This one out of the second class is my absolute favorite. She'll be your champion. One out of the first class will be your reserve.
Good job. Thank you. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Your champion percentage junior doe goat goes to Austin Pagel. Your reserve champion goes to Garen Cooper.
The next two
Mhm.
classes.
If I can get class 3212 to the staging ring, class 3212 to the staging ring. We've got class 3212 percentage yearling does coming into the ring. Can I get class 3214 to the staging area? Class 3214.
Another really good trio here, and I think the winner just the most adequate there in terms of just checking the boxes and just being the most complete. She's a shot longer there than the one we got in second. I think one that's just a shot better in terms of her composition and the bark she's got in her body wall, and I think that allows her to float around the ring with just a shot more ease than the other two we've got out here. I like that one's look there versus the set. One coming out here in two. This one's rib cage is really good. That's a big top, a really fresh handling dough that's big, square, and fresh over loin edge and back to her pin set. That one stays true. For me, facts are she's just a shot shorter up front, not quite as extended there out of her hip. That causes her hock to just get a shot more up right there in motion. She's not quite as confident there. She hits the chips and gets around the ring. I wish she had more cushion, more comfort there to her rear ankle. One going to round us out, a big body dough that's got a whole lot of dimension to her. At the same time, I got to take some bark off that one just in terms of her condition today. She's got the most, and I think she's just pushing the envelope, causing her to get a little bit out in her shoulder, a little bit down in her rear pasture, and I just got to clean that one up a little bit in the way she moves. Let's put our hands together for all three of them.
Your 32-12 class winner is Rebel Mountain Ranch. Second place goes to Caitlin Clinic. And third place goes to Garen Cooper. We've got class 32-14 coming into the ring. Can I get class 32-18 to the staging area? Class 32-18.
Another really good pair of them that we've got out here, and I think from the sides where I make my call on this set, and that's where the doe up front's the one that suits me best. She's a little bit later pattern, taller to the point of her shoulder. I think that one's longer necked and smoother in the way she lays it onto her body. I like that one just in terms of her power. I think she is just a shot bigger footed, a shot longer there off of both ends of her skeleton. I think that allows her to look just a shot neater there in terms of her profile image. One coming out second, big top, thick ended doe that's got a whole lot of dimension. I like that doe's mass and power. That's a stout skull and a big forearm. At the same time, I think one that's a little bit frailer in terms of rear ankle. I didn't know if that one balanced quite as good. One that wants to get just a shot shorter off of both ends of her skeleton as well. Really nice pair of them here. They got their differences. That's just how I see them today. Let's put our hands together and congratulate them both.
Your first place goes to Terry Roberts. And second place in class 32-14 goes to Elizabeth Pluger. And we want to wish Elizabeth a very happy birthday today.
This is our percentage yearling draft.
This is what?
The percentage yearling draft.
Can we get class 32-18 to the staging area? 32-18. We're on our percentage senior doe. We're on our percentage yearling doe drive right now.
Really neat set of them again out here in our yearling division, and as it's a very good compliment to be said, our champion out here is also the leanest in terms of her composition, and I think the truest in terms just of her genuine shape to her rib and her body. At the same time, that one's really fresh in her look, and I think just her trimness and just her freshness allows her to look the best from the side and out in motion. I think she allows her to get another gear out here. Again, I like that one's look. I like her body. I like her mass. And then again, for reserve, I think it gets a little closer. There's one that may just have a shot more fresh shape. I think there's one that's got more mass mass, more dimension. May just read a shot longer there off of both ends of her skeleton. I think it's close, and it's really down to the details for me. My absolute favorite ones are class winner out of the first class. Again, I think it gets closer for reserve. We're going to stick our class winners together, use that class winner out of our second class for reserve.
Good job.
Okay. Your champion percentage yearling doe goes to Rebel Mountain Ranch, and your reserve goes to Terry Roberts. We have class 3218 percentage senior does coming into the ring.
which will also be our percentage senior doe drive. So
Th-
after this will be our overall percentage doe drive.
Really good class of senior does here. And again, I think functionality has got to come first and foremost out here. I think the paint doe is the one that hits me the best right there in terms of just being her feet and legs are strong in terms of her pattern. She's adequate in terms of her composition versus the one in second. She's cleaner chested, fresher up front. I think just a shot more expansion. And in terms of her rib design, I think that allows her to be just a shot more dimensional there. She goes back still. I think she's level there out of her hip at the same time. One coming out here and two very functional. I think just better in terms of her feet and legs and pasterns than the one we got rounding us out. I think one that's cleaner right there in terms of her composition as well. Just more functionality in terms of that doe's just reach and skeleton and flexibility. I got to level her out of her hip just ever so slightly. One going to round us out. Got the most natural feel. She got the best hair coat on her today. We really start breaking that one down. I think her pasterns are just a little bit too low for me. She's got to be way stronger there. She's got to be fixed up just in terms of her rudder. But that doesn't really affect me today because she meets the breed standards. It's her hip and her hind leg and her pastern that really gets her beat. We got to take that one back just in terms of her condition a whole bunch. I think that'd help her allow her to just get out just a shot more confidence there. Let's put our hands together. Let's congratulate them all.
One, two, three. Yep. And then that's also our senior percentage doe, Brandon Reserve, 1 and 2.
In class 3218, your champion percentage senior doe goes to A.W. Boer Goats. Second place goes to Sean Girardeau. Third place goes to Caitlin Clinic. We are currently on our senior doe drive. We're going to take a 10-minute break after this for pictures, and then we'll come back to class 3220.
been a really fun percentage doe show to get to sort through out here, and we bring these 6 back again. I think there's really good ones in our front line and in our reserve line out there again. There's one that hits me hard just in terms of putting the parts and the pieces together, staying true, staying genuine in terms of the rib shape, having an outlier look. I think versus Grand and Reserve out here, what sets her apart is her extra flex, extra build, and just extra function at the surface with all of her extra power up top. I think it's very, very hard to correlate all that together and make it look this smooth. I think she does it with ease out here. For Reserve, I think it gets a little bit closer, maybe one that's a shot more immature, one that's really good in terms of her lines and her angles, maybe like her hip and hind leg just a shot better. At the same time, again, she's immature. She gives up just a little bit in terms of width, body, and power. I think there's one out here that still combines a good enough look there with just a shot more width, body, and power for Reserve. But one thing's for certain, Junior Doe is my absolute favorite. She'll be your champion. Yearling Doe's your Reserve.
Good job. Good job.
Your
So,
your overall champion goes to Austin Pagel, class 3206. And your reserve champion goes to Rebel Mountain Ranch.
yep, class 3212.
Your judge today is Clint Dimmitt from San Angelo, Texas. Clint and his family own and operate Dimmitt Livestock. Clint is a graduate of South Plains College as well as Texas Tech University with a degree in animal science. Clint was a member of the livestock judging team and the meat evaluation team. While at the college and since, Clint has had the opportunity to judge several local shows as well as various regional shows, state fairs, and junior nationals all across the United States. Clint's favorite things about judging, seeing the win, the hard work pays off for the exhibitor. Clint is always thankful for the opportunity to work and excited to get started. We really appreciate Clint coming out to judge. We've got class 3220 coming in the ring. Can I get class 3222 to the staging area? Class 3222.
Really nice single entry here to start our full-blood doe show. Snipe-fronted one that's really smooth there. I like her length and levelness. That one's a real late maturing doe that's still got enough bulk to her today. That's a really, really good one with a bright future there, young man. Nice single entry that could stand some competition. Let's put our hands together for him.
Your class winner is Dylan Harmon. We have class 3222 coming into the ring. Can I get class 3224 to the staging area? Class 3224 to the staging area. Can I get Sean Jurdo to the staging area? Sean Jurdo.
Really good class. I think a good top pair. I think one that's just a shot better in terms of today. What we see out here in the Cape Shoulder Doe, I think just got a shot more natural feel and base and width and body to her today. That one versus the one in second. I think just in terms of her bone work, that's a wash. And in terms of that one's look, that's a wash. I think she's just got a shot more in terms of her rib shape, her body width and power. That one's bigger and broader than her over loin edge and back to her pin width. I think just got more natural feel in terms of the turn and substance to her rib cage today. No question about it. I like to make that one just a shot longer. They're out of her hip. I think that's what makes it close between 1 and 2. We talk about the futuristic type female. The one sitting second, I think, has got the right kind of build and look there from the side to certainly go there down the road. That one's really tall shouldered and really smooth right there. I like that one just in terms of her length and her levelness. Again, maybe one that's longer there from hooks to pins out back. At the same time, one that gives up just a shot of bulk right there behind her shoulder. That one's fore-rib, mid-rib, and body's not quite as aggressive in terms of the turn and shape to it today. But that one's got all the build and basics to be a foundation female there as a yearling. I like to see that one filled out with just a shot more fluff there to her rib cage and body. I like that one's look from the side. One coming out here in 3, again, more moderate just in terms of her type and kind. Shorter cannon bones, a shot shorter and steeper out of her hip. I didn't know if that one was quite as neat in terms of her look there from the side, but I like the way she balances better than the ones coming out here in 4 and 5. One coming out here in 4, a big outline female. I like that one's lateness and maturity. Cool necked one that's long and level. At the same time, we get down past the twine on that one, and I think one that's just a shot more modest in terms of her bone work there. A one that's too steep out of her hip for me today. A one that's going to round us out here. A good balanced one again. I like the way that one fits together. Maybe just a shot better than the one in front of her. Facts are she's the least just in terms of rib, body, and muscle today. I need to see more of her, make her more dimensional there off of both ends of her skeleton. Let's put our hands together. Let's congratulate them all.
We've got Class 3224 coming in the ring. Please bring up Class 3226 to the staging area. Your Class 3222 winner was Terry Roberts. Second place goes to Dylan Harmon. Third place goes to Natalie Scholl. Fourth place goes to Liz Stevens. And fifth place goes to Tanya Brinkman.
Another logical class, I think, lines out for me top to bottom pretty quick in here. There's a pair of them that from the side, I think, just combine a little bit more width with the right kind of look for me. And then we start talking about stoutness and feature there at the surface. The Black Doe's the one that matches it the best, and I think balances up the best from the side versus the one in second. That one, again, I think is punchier through her midrib and her body. At the same time, she's bigger about her forearm, bigger about her front foot, and broader there in terms of her pin width from behind. I like that one. A really, really good deal. That's a fresh-looking, awesome presented female out here. One coming out here in second, again, a high-performing, tall-fronted, late-maturing type female that's got some extra base width for me. At the same time, one that needs to be just a shot bigger in terms of her rear ankle to match her extra dimension up high and help her balance just a shot better. Again, I think she's got just a shot more in terms of her center body, rib, and dimension than the ones we've got preceding her here in class. One's coming out here next. I think in terms of what's left, she's just the neatest in terms of her profile image, the longest there and levelest there out of her hip. I think, again, one that's just got to be powered up in terms of her chest, just mid-rib and body. Make that one a shot broader, and I think we could certainly move that one up the lineup because I like her look, I like her levelness, I like her balance from the side. A good deal. One's coming out in 4 and 5 again. I think just ones that need to level up, just a shot leveler out of their hip. Ones that need to get too steep there. For me, I think the black and white Spotted Doe comes a shot bigger in terms of her bone work at the surface. Again, both of them are very functional in terms of their angles. I like her extra added feature. Got to make her leveler out of her hip. Young man's wide ear doe that's going to round us out again. Very functional through her midrib. No doubt that kind lasts a long time in production. At the same time, she needs more rib, needs more body, needs more stoutness there at the surface. Let's put our hands together for them all.
Class 32-24. First place goes to Austin Pagel. Second place goes to Madison Kramer. Third place goes to Tanya Brinkman. Fourth place goes to Sean Gerardo. Fifth place goes to Iris Luth. Coming in the ring now, we have Class 32-26.
Really good class, and I think there's some trade-offs, but still for me, there's a clear answer in the Red Doe to go ahead and start versus the one in second. That one's got a way cool factor up front versus just studying that one's neck and the way it ties out of her shoulder. She's cleaner at the base of her chest. That one is next level in terms of her look up front. I like that one a good deal, and still study her out back. I think she's bigger in terms of her caboose, and still I think combines it with a really good rib cage and just a shot more power throughout. Facts are, I wish she was just a shot longer there out of her hip, but that's being nitpicky and really critical of a really really good one because in motion, that one never misses a beat in terms of her step. That one's got a next level look with extra punch there from behind. One coming out here in two, a soft-sided one that's smooth in terms of her silhouette. I like that doe's angles, one that's got a whole lot of breed character about her head, neck, and horn set, one that's there stout there at the surface, and we start getting our hands on that one at the same time. She's got more natural feel and condition on her today. That one's not quite as broad over her loin edge, not quite as much turn to that lower leg and stifle there from behind, but that's a soft-centered, really good silhouette type of female, late mature, and I like that one's maternal quality. One going to round us out here, just a shot smaller there off of both ends of her skeleton. I got to change that one out of her hip and her hind leg, just a shot longer. Got to make her a shot stouter there at the surface as well. I think we can move her on up the lineup because I like that one's maternal quality through her front two-thirds. Got to change her out back. Let's put our hands together. Nice trio.
In class 32-26, your first place goes to Elizabeth Pluger, second place goes to Austin Pagel, and third place goes to Natalie Scholl. We're coming in to our full-bred junior doe kid champion. Can I get class 32-28 to the staging area? And can I go ahead and get class 32-30 to start making your way to the staging area? Class 32-30, please start making your way to the staging area.
Really, really good first division here in our Full Blood Doe show. We got our 4 class winners in our 3 seconds out here. I'll talk our class winners briefly to you. One out of our first class, one doe with a lot of future. Love that one's build, love that one's look. Maybe just a shot more immature today, but no question about it. The parts and the pieces are there to certainly fill out and feed. One coming out of our second class, a big, stout, dimensional type female, good through her center rib, really, really thick off of both ends of her skeleton. If I'm going to get critical of that one out here, maybe a little bit thicker neck, maybe a little bit shorter out of her hip than I deem ideal, but no question about it. I think that one's still plenty good in the way that she balances together in her own right. The black doe coming out here next. I think just in terms of the way that one balances together, that one's just so smooth in terms of her silhouette, stout, awesome in terms of her handle quality. A lot to like about that doe coming out of our third class. One coming out of our fourth class. In terms of her parts and pieces she brings to the table, that one is next level in terms of her look up front, extra big in terms of her caboose out back. If I'm going to get critical compared to a couple, not quite as big in terms of her bone mark, maybe just a shot shorter and maybe a sharper in terms of her hock set from behind. Again, I think her parts and her pieces are very, very good. If I'm going to get nitpicky on that one, maybe just find some holes in her. But I think that one, just in terms of the parts, the pieces she brings to the table, she's certainly in contention out here in the lineup. So for me, as we take a step back, weigh the positives, subtract the negatives, there's one that hits me really, really hard. For reserve, there's one that, again, I think that one's next level look up front. Again, combined with her extra power pieces, are still good enough for me. The black doe's your champion, the red doe's your reserve.
Your full-blood junior doe champion goes to Austin Pagel. Your reserve goes to Elizabeth Pluger. We're going to move into our full-blood yearling does.
single entry here. One with a lot of quality there. Study that one's head, horn set. That one, the way the neck comes out of her shoulder. That one's look from the side is really, really good. Maybe not quite as punchy maybe as these ones that just left the ring in their junior division. But you like that one just for being a yearling doe that's genuine in terms of rib shape. One that's not too over conditioned. We can build around that in the yearling division, no doubt about it. Let's put our hands together for it.
Great job.
Your class winner is Austin Pagel. We're coming in the ring with class 3230. If you can bring class 3232 to the staging area, class 3232 to the staging area. Can I get Dylan Harmon to the staging area, please? Dylan Harmon to the staging area.
Another really good set, and again, I think condition is going to hinder a few of them out here in this set, because for me, I think that's big to be able to get these yearling does in the show rings okay, but their purpose is in production, making the next generation better guys, and so for me, I think you got to combine with the right kind of trimness and cutability and just composition on you, and still have the right kind of look, and I think that allows your build to be better at the end of the day, and still we can pack as much genuine shape on these things without putting too much bark on them. I think these top three do that, and then after we do that, we're going to make them just the best built as we can, and I think that's where our winner. I think the top two are good in terms of their build, and they're very, very genuine in terms of what they bring to the table. There's more of them in the traditional doe up front. She's bigger in terms of her bone work, broader off of both ends of her skeleton, fills it together with just a shot more red meat yield on her today. One coming out here, this is the trimmest doe in the lineup, and I like that. Stout skull, one that's big and broad about her chest, one that's wide from behind, and that one reads with a lot of genuine shape there. Facts are she's just a shot frailer there out of her hind leg, not quite as stout at the surface as the ones on either side of her. Still like that one's functionality. I like her genuine shape, really, really good. One coming out here in three, again, I think one that's trim enough just in terms of her body shape and condition today. I got to fix her out of her hind leg. One that's got a little bit shot extra set to it. One that's to get up underneath it ever so slightly, round out of its hip. That's a stout skull one that's got a really, really good just turn to her rib cage. I like her front 2/3 a good deal. One coming out in four is a wide, very dimensional doe for me. This is the problem child in terms of condition. She's got to be toned way back, and I think that'll allow her to get around the ring with just a shot more ease. She wants to just jiggle as she walks, just not quite as appeasing as she gets around the ring for me. The dapple doe coming next, very, very good in terms of being good balance at the same time. One that's too tight in terms of her flank line, short out of her hip. I got to make that one softer going back, and I think that aid to a better look there from the side. More bone work needs to happen in the dapple doe coming next from her knee and her hawk up. I like her in terms of her dimension. For me, she's just too frail at the surface, doesn't balance quite like I like to see. One going to round us out, very functional. One that's got to be just a shot leveler down her spine and out of her hip. I just power her up ever so slightly. Let's put our hands together. Let's congratulate them all.
Good job.
Hello. Class 3230. First place goes to Rebel Mountain Ranch. Second place goes to Garen Cooper. Third place goes to Austin Pagel. Fourth place goes to Elizabeth Pluger. Fifth place goes to Madison Kramer. Sixth place goes to Terry Roberts. Seventh place goes to Kaylin Lohman. We have class 3232 coming into the ring. Can I get class 3234 to the staging area? Class 3234 to the staging area.
Well, another awesome set. I know I harped on condition in the last class. I think we're more adequate where we need to be out here with these four. And for me, I think these top two come to the top. And then when you can study them, just study that one's extra extension off of both ends of her skeleton. That dapple doe's next level good, guys. That one's looked from the side. That's how I like to draw them up. That one's length. That one's levelness. That one's set and pitched to her hip. That's ideal for me. We get that one out in motion. Guys, she's trim. She's not too fat, and she can absolutely handle her big pipes, no doubt about it. Still prop her up, dead level down her top, lots of dimension off of both ends of her skeleton, like that doe a bunch. One coming out here in second, her skull shape might just be a shot more intimidating. She's wide-eyed and got an awesome turn to the top side of her noggin. That one's big-chested, big-ended. I like that one a good deal. If I'm getting critical of that one again, maybe just a shot shorter on the top side of her hip, not quite the same extension as her dapple doe that wins this deal, but I'm not going to call that one short by any means. I think that's still a good balanced female, not quite as extreme there as the one that goes ahead and win this deal. In 3 and 4, maybe we just lose a little bit just in terms of her width and her power and her levelness out of her hip. But I think in terms of the way our front end comes in and we're assembled, the red doe just a shot better today. One that's longer necked and higher tying, and where she ties it in, I think that allows her to be cleaner there at the bottom side of her breastbone and the way she tucks it up. Very functional type female, just needs to be a shot leveler out of her hip. One that's going to round us out again, one that's good in terms of her balance at the same time, one that's got just a shot more chest and breastbone than I deem ideal. Again, we're getting just a shot shorter and steeper out of her hip. Got to level her out there, power her up all throughout. Let's put our hands together for them all.
Thank you.
Our class 32-32 full-blood yearling does. First place goes Dylan Harmon. Second place goes to Austin Pagel. Third place goes to Sean Jerdo. Fourth place goes to Olivia Goodner. Coming in the ring right now, we have our full-blood yearling doe drive.
Really good yearling drive we've got in here. And again, I think when we talk just ones that fit me well, there's a pair of them out here I like a good deal just in terms of their look, their freshness, and their body shape and basic build. You know the difference. I think one comes just a shot more extension out of its hip, but that's being critical because the one that's going to be reserved today, I wouldn't call that one short by any means. One that's still good in terms of her balance. These two out of the last class are my favorites. We're going to keep them together. They'll be champion in reserve.
Your champion full-blood yearling does goes to Dylan Harmon. Your reserve goes to Austin Pagel. We have class 32-34 coming in the ring right now. Can I get class 32-36 the staging area?
Another good class, a trio that lines out for me. The dapple pair up top, I think, just come with a shot more rib and body to them. And then between them, the black dapple we're going to go ahead and use, I think, combines it a shot stouter there at the surface. I think that helps her balance a shot better there from the side. Again, versus the one in second. We're bigger footed, we're broader in terms of our muzzle and our forearm. I think that lays the foundation for more power up top, more power out of our hip. And that one stays square, stays leveler there all the way back. One going to be second today again versus the one in third. I think we're the bigger outline, more dimensional female about our midrib and our body at the same time. We're a shot shorter and steeper out of our hip, not quite as stout at the surface as our class winner out here. If we can intensify that one in terms of her bone work, I think it makes it a close call up front. One coming out here in three, very functional in terms of her type and kind. Got a real good udder on her. Looks like she'll last a long time in production. At the same time, need to make that one stouter, more amped up, just in terms of her power and her shape to play with the top two today. Let's put our hands together for all three of these exhibitors.
Great job, young man. Great job.
In class 32-34, you have Madison Kramer first place. Second place goes to A.W. Boer Goats, and third place goes to Tanya Brinkman.
Single entry here, one with a lot of width and a lot of power up top. I like that one being dead level out of her hip. One that's maybe starting to show her age a little bit in terms of her chest, wanting to get just a shot more pronounced there. But no question about it. I think one that's held up in terms of her feet and her legs and her pasterns is very, very good. One that's been in production can come back out here and look this well. I should certainly be complimented. Let's put our hands together and congratulate her.
Your class 32-36 winner is Austin Pagel. We're going to have the champion drive for the full-blood senior does.
We've got three out here in our senior divisional drive, and I think these two class winners, we're going to keep them together out here, and I'll talk the differences to you. The black dapple up front, a stout, bold-bodied doe that's very broody just in terms of her type and her kind. Is she quite as long or maybe feminine up front as the one that's out here? Maybe not, but I think she's bigger in terms of her bone work, a one that's bold in terms of her rib cage, and I think that's what makes it close. A one out of our last class, a one that's certainly very, very good in terms of her neck and where it comes out of her shoulder, one that's long and dead level out of her hip. And you study that one stays very true and square and wide all the way to the surface. Again, if we got to be critical on that one, she's kind of wanting to get more pronounced in terms of her breastbone today, and maybe not quite as big in terms of her bone work, but I never call that one frail, and for me, that's extra look, extra width off of both ends or what stands out. She'll be your champion. Dapple Doe will be your reserve.
Your champion full-blood senior doe goes to Austin Pagel, and your reserve goes to Madison Kramer. We're going to go ahead and move into the overall drive. We're going to take a 10-minute break after this to take pictures before we move into our junior bucks.
Well, it's been an awfully fun full blood doe show to get to sort through, and these 6 out here, they fire me up for a good deal. I think there's 2 of them that come to the top, and it's razor close. I think maybe it's look versus power at times. I think there's one that's just got a shot more shape, a shot more density, a shot more width off of both ends. I think there's one that's got a shot more length there, and its margin of difference is very, very close. And again, it's razor thin. I kind of talk them to you. The 2 that I are in my mind are the 2 out of our first 2 divisions. That junior doe, man, you talk about one that's extra in terms of her width up high. You talk about that one's shape and density. That one's body cage is so, so good. And still, for all that power, that one is so seamless in the way she transitions in motion. Her hip and her hind leg are flawless. I like that one a good deal. One out of our yearling division, guys. In terms of that one's look and that one's silhouette from the side, she's an extra rib longer off of both ends of her skeleton. That one just a shot more extended. That's a really, really good look for having all that length. I think she stays good enough in terms of her top line and the way that she wedges. That one is good in terms of her feet and her legs. And for having all that length, she still meets her stride and she flexes so, so good in motion. Maybe not quite the same amount of density and bulk there as the black doe, but we get some extra length. We get some extra extension from the side, and so you got to make your call. Is this one long enough? Is this one powerful enough? I'll show you where my priorities lay. Let's put our hands together. I'll go select you a champion in a reserve.
Your grand champion full blood goes to Austin Pagel, and reserve champion goes to Dylan Harmon. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break for some pictures, and we'll be right back. We're going to go ahead and come back in the ring with Class 3240, percentage junior buck.
A single entry here, but guys, simply put, this one's better than most. When you study that one in terms of his stoutness, his width, and dimension, that one's manned up in terms of his power. That one's got the right kind of lines and agility underneath. I like that buck a good deal. That'll be your junior champion. We'll see him back out here in a percentage buck drive. Again, I like that buck a really good deal. High quality one here out of our junior division.
Your class winner is Cooper Guerin. Guerin Cooper. We're going to go ahead and come in the ring with our Class 3248, our percentage yearling bucks.
We're going to leave this pair how they came in the ring. A pair of functional, manned up, rugged herd sires for me. I think the paint buck's a shot better built. That's a longer pattern, later mature and bigger outline type of buck. I think he's longer down his back, leveler out of his hip, and better in terms of his basic build there at the surface. One coming out in second may have just a shot more shape to his forerib. At the same time, that's the tighter hearted buck that's a shot too round there out of his hip for me. Really, really nice pair of them. This will be your champion in reserve out of our yearling. We'll see them both back in our grand drive.
Your champion percentage yearling goes to A.W. Boer Goats. Your reserve goes to Iris Luth. Can I get Class 3256 to the staging area? Class 3256, full blood junior bucks.
Just a trio of them in our percentage buck show today. These two on the front line, I think just in terms of their look, in terms of their presence, they're really good built. They're good in terms of their levelness. I think in terms of their stoutness of feature, there's one that's just a shot more rugged in terms of his bone work and his foot size today. I think it correlates to a shot more shape to his rib cage. He's a shot deeper and fuller about that lower stifle. That junior buck, he's really, really good. He's my favorite. He'll be your champion. The yearling buck will be your reserve.
Good job.
Your grand champion percentage buck goes to Guerin Cooper. Your reserve champion goes to A.W. Boer Goats. Can I get class 3258 to the staging area, class 3258?
Really nice pair of them here that offer their trade-offs for me. I'm going to use the smaller framed Applebuck to go ahead and win this deal. And I know maturity and age at this stage of the game it plays a big difference. When we start studying just genuine shape and width, I think he comes with a shot more of it. He's more pried apart in his chest. He's bigger over his loin edge and wider over his pin set. I think he wraps more shape to his stifle. I think his parts and pieces are there to feed out with a shot more power. One coming out second, a big outlined one that's got a shot more just extension there down his top. That's a tall fronted, long-sided, late pattern type buck. At the same time, one that's a shot flatter about his forerib, more closed up off of both ends. I like them both. I like the extra power of that Applebuck to win this deal. Let's put our hands together for them all.
Your first place in class 3256 goes to Tanya Brinkman. Your second place goes to Tanya Brinkman. We have class 3258 coming into the ring right now. Can I get class 3260 to the staging area? Class 3260.
Another really good set of bucks, I think, that lines out pretty logically for me. The top two are better balanced, better built bucks, and then between them, I think the traditional buck with kind of red and white on his legs, that one just more powered up. When we study him behind his shoulder, he's bigger in terms of his shape, and he spreads that mass all the way back and stays true and progressive in terms of his width. I like his upper hip, I like his pin set and his lower stifle. I think fills in with just a shot more muscle than the one we got out here in two. One out here in two, I think it's a good balanced buck. I like his basic build. He's got big feet that work right. I think he's leveled down his top. I think he's better just in terms of his ruggedness up front and in terms of his feature down low than the one we got sitting in three. I think he's more flexible than the one we got out here in four. Again, not quite as powerful the top side of his skeleton, not quite as much shape that he wraps to his lower stifle as our class winner. Big frame buck coming out here in three. Guys, I'm just not a big fan of that one's head. I think it gets a little plainer in his head, a little bit shorter just in terms of his hip length compared to his back length, and still wants to get weaker behind his shoulder. That one just falls out of balance for me, but still, I think there's more just in terms of his reach and flexibility at the surface than the one we got coming out here in four. A big shaped one coming out here in four in terms of this tuck turn and loin edge. I like that one's muscle shape. At the same time, he's too straight and kind of wants to toe up front. That's the tightest hearted, shortest stepping buck out here in the set. Let's put our hands together. Let's congratulate them all.
Thanks, sir.
Your 3258 class winner is Terry Roberts. Second place goes to Tanya Brinkman. Third place goes to Liz Stevens. And fourth place goes to Tanya Brinkman. We've got class 3260 coming into the ring right now. If I can get class 3262 to the holding area.
Another class with a lot of logic. I think an easy class winner here. And we start studying this one versus the rest of the set, he's just a shot more opened up off of both ends of his skeleton, more amped up in terms of his ruggedness and his feature. That one's absolutely stout in terms of his skull. His forearm and his front foot's stouter than anything else out here. I think it correlates to a shot more body and a shot more dimension off of both ends. After that, I think it gets close between 2 and 3 for me. I think the red buck's just a shot softer centered, a shot more dimensional about how expansive his rib design is. And still, I need to power that one up out of his hip, stouten him up at the surface to match my winner out here. But I think just in terms of being easy feeding, a soft centered, better balanced type of buck, that one fits the bill for me. One coming out here in 3, a very flexible type of buck. I like that one's agility, good deal. He's wide between his horns and really stouting in terms of his head set up high. I wish it correlated to a shot more shape and muscle there from behind. One that's a little bit shallower about his twist. I need to make that one fuller in terms of his muscle shape there from behind. One that's going to round us out. One that's very functional again through his mid body. I like him in terms of his front end and his back end and the way it flexes at the surface. At the same time, he's got to have more width, got to have more power and substance off of both ends to match him today. Really nice set of bucks top to bottom. Let's put our hands together for him.
Your class winner of class 3260 is Austin Pagel. Second place goes to Tana Brinkman. Third place goes to Sean Gerardo. Fourth place goes to Iris Luth. We've got class 3262 coming in the ring.
Single entry here next. Again, I like that one's look from the side, long and level there out of his hip. Got a really good hind leg on him, as this one just is amped up in terms of his ruggedness and his feature up front. Maybe as a couple we've seen today. I don't think so, but step off of that one. That one's lines, that one's levelness, and basic build's what it takes to make a long time just herd sire in production. Nice one here. Let's put our hands together for him.
Your class winner is Lindy Heffman. We're going to go ahead and move to our full-blood junior buck champion drive. If I can get class 3264 to the staging area, class 3264 to the staging area.
Another good divisional lineup we've got out here in our full blood buck show, and still more numbers here and then our percentage buck show, and I think the quality is very, very good here. At the same time, there's two of them, man, on the front line, just in terms of their stoutness of feature and their squareness and just ruggedness. They kind of come to the top for me, and then between them, I think there's one that's just a shot more ideal in terms of the set and pitch to his upper hip and where his tail head sits on him today. I like them both a good deal in terms of ruggedness and power. Again, from the sides where I make my call, the one out of class 3 is going to be your champion, one out of class 2 is going to be your reserve.
Your champion full-blood junior buck goes to Austin Pagel, and your reserve goes to Terry Roberts.
If I can have your attention in the goat barn, after the full blood buck drive, we will do 10 minutes to take pictures quick. And then we will have the Nebraska bred and owned classes. So if you're a Nebraska exhibitor, we will have all, you can bring a percentage doe. They'll run against each other, a full blood doe, then percentage buck and full blood buck if you're a Nebraska exhibitor for a bred and owned. After that, we will go into showmanship. We do have novice, junior, intermediates, seniors, and then adult showmanship. So that'll be after the conclusion of the full blood buck drive and pictures.
Some differences in terms of type and kind out here, and I think just two different just aspects in terms of what they bring to the table. Ultimately, I made the call this one right here. He's plenty big enough off the ground. After that, I think there's more to him in terms of genuine chest width, power, and density. That one's leveler out of his hip in motion. I think he stays better balanced there in the way he utilizes his hip and his hind leg. I like that buck a good deal. Question is he just tall enough off the ground? I think he is out here in this pair. Part for part, piece for piece, there's more genuine shape and power to him. One coming out here in second. Again, the bigger outline buck, a shot taller, a shot longer there. I like that. I like finding them tall and outlining and just late maturing type animals, no doubt about it. At the same time, we got to hook up and hinge just a shot better in the way we balance. We want to get just a shot more peaked behind our shoulder, a shot more round out of our hip, and not quite as stout in terms of our rear leg than I'd like to see. But that's a big outline and high performing buck, no doubt. I think that's what makes it close. I got to have him blend and balance just a shot smoother for me today. Let's put our hands together and let's congratulate them both.
Your first place full blood yearling buck goes to Rebel Mountain Ranch. Second place goes to Madison Kramer. We've got class 3266 coming in the ring.
And just to clarify, if you did not sign up for showmanship or Nebraska bred and owned, that is okay. You can come to the ring and we will get you in the right class. So if you did not sign up for showmanship, you can still do it. All ages, 0 to 100, can show in showmanship.
Nice pair of bucks here. I think they could both use a shot of width and maybe just a shot of power off of both ends of their skeleton. Ultimately, the young man up front, I think your buck's just a shot stouter, more rugged about his head. He's longer down his spine, longer at his hip. I think he's just better in terms of his reach and range of motion because of it. One coming out here in two. Again, I think we can make both these things wider off of both ends of their skeleton. At the same time, he wants to get just a shot shorter in terms of his hip, not quite as long and extended as the one that wins this. Still, two nice bucks. Let's put our hands together for them both.
Your 3266 class winner goes to Iris Luth. Your second place goes to Sean Gerardo. We're going to go ahead and move into our full blood yearling champion drive.
We bring our two classes out here for our division drive and our yearling a division of the buck show. And again, I think some that can certainly go in production and make the next generation very, very functional. For me, I think there's a pair out here that just come a shot more amped up in terms of the ruggedness and power they bring to the table today. That pair out of the first class suits me best. They'll be your champion in your reserve.
Your first place goes to Rebel Mountain Ranch champion. Your reserve champion is Iris Luth. Your reserve champion is Madison Kramer.
been a really fun buck show to get to sort through here today, and we bring these 4 out, and I think there's 4 that they can certainly put in production, and they all have their part and their place. You can take them on a different group of does. I think all of them are very good. There's a pair of them I think are just a shot more versatile in terms of what you're going to take them to. I think they hit me just a shot better today, and then between the pair, again, I think there's one that's just a shot more elevated up front, a shot more extension there down his back. Both these things are dead level down their top and out of their hip. They're square. They're genuine there at the surface. I like the way their feet and their legs go. Again, more height to shoulder in my champion than my reserve today. Champion's going to be your junior buck. Reserve's going to be your yearling buck. Let's congratulate them both.
Good job. Great job. Great job.
Your champion yearling buck goes to Austin Pagel. Your reserve goes to Rebel Mountain Ranch.
I need to make. It doesn't have to be a bread no. I need my phone.
Sing like Loretta.
Yeah, I can't sing. Okay, so I do have a correction. After we get done with full blood buck pictures, we will do our group classes. So that's a pair of young doe kids, a pair of senior doe kids or yearling and above, and then a pair of buck kids. And then we will do the Nebraska exhibitor, and then we'll do showmanship. If you have questions about where you would fall in showmanship, you can ask myself or who's lining the classes up. So once again, we will do our group classes, the pair of does and the pair of bucks. Then we will do the Nebraska owned, and then we will do showmanship.
Can I get class 3256 to the staging area? Class 3256, pair of does. Can I get class 3257 to the staging area? Class 3257.
We're bringing our best pair of does, and this class is judged on quality and uniformity between the pair. And I think there's a pair of them out here that maybe just fit together and represent just the same kind of stock, a shot more ideal in just terms of uniformity. All four of these things are very high quality. They come with their parts and their pieces. You like a good deal, maybe some things you like to tweak on them, but I think there's a pair that are very, very similar in terms of type and kind. That's our front pair, more traditional does. They'll be your champion. These ones out here in the back will be reserved.
Your champion pair of does goes to Rebel Mountain Ranch. Your reserve goes to Caitlin Clinton. Can I get all the Nebraska-owned percentage does that want to compete to the staging area? All Nebraska-owned percentage does.
Just a single entry here in our next pairs class. I think the paint dough on my side, one that's very cool looking, like that one shape a good deal, one that's good in the way that she balances and put together. That black dough is one that's very powerful, thick-ended. I like that one's dimensional just pieces that she brings to the table. Lots of mass, lots of width, lots of body in that one. Really good pair of them. Let's put our hands together for our champion pair.
Your champion pair of doe kids goes to Caitlin Klinchik. All Nebraska-owned percentage does. If we can make your way up here. All Nebraska-owned full blood to the staging area. All Nebraska-owned, we're going to go ahead and ask you to start making your way up here. Anybody who wants to compete in that, please make your way up.
We bring our percentage does Nebraska owned out here, and I think these 5 are very, very good. There's some parts that we want to change on all of them, but I think there's one in terms of her look combined with her shape and her build. Maybe we got hard on her in class for not just being the biggest or not being the most out there, but you study her part for part and piece for piece. My absolute favorite's the one up front. That's going to be your champion doe.
Your champion doe goes to Austin Pagel.
Oh, no, that's Caitlin Kleinek.
Oh, apologies, Caitlin Kleinek.
Yeah, she's showing for it.
Okay, we're going to come in the ring with the Nebraska full blood does. If I can get all the Nebraska-owned percentage bucks to the staging area. All the Nebraska percentage bucks to the staging area.
We've got our 5 Nebraska-owned full-blood does out here, and again, I think there's a pair of them that really come to my mind. One for power, one for look, and I think you got to find the combination doe. For me, there's one that combines it just a shot smoother in the way they put it all together, just a shot more seamless in terms of their viewpoints and the way you study them. The dapple doe up front's my favorite. She'll be your champion.
Your champion full blood doe, Nebraska owned, goes to Madison Kramer. Can I get all the Nebraska owned full blood bucks to the staging area? All the Nebraska owned full blood bucks.
Just a single entry buck here in our Nebraska-owned percentage buck show. Again, one that could stand some competition. I like that one's shape. I like that one just power that he brings to the table. Young man's got an outstanding project. Let's put our hands together. He's doing a great job. This will be your champion percentage buck, Nebraska-owned.
Your champion percentage buck goes to Iris Luth. We're going to come in with the Nebraska-owned full blood. Can I get all novice showmen to the staging area? 7 and under novice showmen to the staging area.
Really nice set of full-blood bucks we've got out here for our Nebraska-owned buck show. I think there's two of them that come to my mind just in terms of their stoutness of feature and their style. They're from the side that they bring to the table, and then between the pair of them, we study their hip and their hind leg and just their comfort level at the surface. I think there's one that's just a shot more relaxed. That's a young man up front. He's going to have your champion Nebraska-bred buck.
Your champion Nebraska full blood buck goes to Lindy Heflin. We're going to go ahead and work our way into showmanship here with all the novice showmen. All the novice showmen to the staging area. Can I get a last call for all novice showmen, 7 and under? Can I get all junior showmen, ages 8 to 11, to the staging area? All junior showmen. We're going to take a quick little 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back. Please have all showmen come to the show ring in the staging area. We're going to go ahead and move into our novice showmanship. All junior showmen, please make your way to the staging area, ages 8 to 11. We're going to follow that by intermediate, 12 to 15 years old. After the intermediate, we're going to go into senior, 16 to 21, and adult, 22 and older.
Well, really nice division of novice showmen out here. These three are doing an outstanding job. They deserve a big round of applause if you're ringside. Let's put our hands together. Let's make some noise and let them hear it. Guys, again, it's just been a really fun day getting to sort through some good stock that are being shown at a high level. These novice showmen are out here doing the job at a very, very high level, just getting it done out here. You know, differences maybe in terms of showmanship style. I think there's one as we ask them to get around the ring. We're just a shot more consistent there as they make their corners, as they transition, as they work with their animal. I think it's a shot easier there as they transition. Still, feet and legs are set up at all times. We do a great job of getting that head and neck out of her. Young lady up front, you did an outstanding job. You're the champion novice showman. Congratulations. Great job. Good job, young man. Good job, good job.
Your champion novice showman is Brooke Brinkman. We're coming into the ring with your junior showmen, ages 8 to 11. Intermediate showmen, please make your way to the staging area, ages 12 to 15. Intermediate showmen, please make your way to the staging area.
Another really good group of showmen that we've got lined up out here, and I got it narrowed down to a top 3 for me, and I'll kind of nitpick the second and the third place to you today, and I'll get you a winner out here. A young man up front, I thought you did a really good job in terms of just setting up feet and legs and just getting that thing really, really going in motion. You do a good job not getting too far out in front or too far behind that doe's shoulder. You do a real good job of just working hard and being a good team with her at times. I think we could work to just get that head up a little bit more, get more crank out of the front end of her. That's a big doe, and I think you're doing a great job with her. On the other end, young man bracing this doe kid over here, I think you do a great job in terms of feet and leg placement, confidence, staying cool, calm, and collected, and getting her to drive. At the same time, I think we could use a little bit more hand pressure on the back side of her head to kind of pull her up and get that nose down and help her balance from the side just a little bit better. Those are nitpicky things. You two on an outstanding job. There's one kid out here, I think just in terms of all day long, they really shined out in the show ring, and they did good about utilizing the whole ring and just really floating with their animal. We bring them back out here, and no different, guys. They absolutely shine in terms of keeping the feet and legs square, knowing where I'm at all times, really getting that head and neck out of them, and then again, just utilizing the ring and utilizing their animal and to maximum potential, guys. I think that's what it's about, is knowing your strong suits and really showing it off out here. One young lady did it really, really well. Young lady out here sitting second in the Black's your champion showman.
Your junior showman champion is Rio Brinkman. We're going to come in the ring now with our intermediate showmanship, ages 12 to 15. Seniors, please make your way to the staging area, ages 16 to 21. Seniors, please make your way to the staging area.
Another really good group of showmen, top to bottom out here in steel. I think there's one young lady out here, I think, that just puts it all together and does it at a very, very high level. As we talk about, out here in showmanship, it's important to see your animal, know your animal, and then highlight the strong suits of it, and, try to show out as much as you can, maybe the holes and maybe the parts and pieces you want to change on your doe. I think there's a young lady out here that knows just that, knows how to just stretch that doe out, make her look as good as she can from the side, because she knows she's got a wide, powerful doe, and if that one's good enough looking, she's going to get along very, very well. That's that doe out here in the back. She's going to be your champion showman.
Your champion intermediate showman is Elizabeth Pluger.
What a great birthday present.
And happy birthday to you, Elizabeth. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move into our senior showman, ages 16 to 21. If I can have all the adult showmen come up for showmanship, ages 22 and older.
Another good group of showmen out here. And again, I'm not one to get just too complicated on how to get these goats shown, guys. I think we need to hit the ring. We need to get a good pace going, not get too far out in front or too far behind them. We need to get that head and neck out of them, and then our feet and legs never need to miss a beat. I think that'll help our top line stay in us, and the way that we motion and just get around them needs to be fluid and smooth. Guys, I think there's all four of these individuals out here doing that to a very, very high level. Just some differences maybe as we get around the ring amongst the top two. I think the winner out here just a little bit more smooth right there as we transition. One again, I think at times the second place for me, what it was close between, just wants to get a little bit too far out in front of your doe. That caused her to hit the brakes. That caused her to stop. If we'll let her just get out and float, I think she wants to get motor for us. I think at times we just get too far out in front of that shoulder, and that makes her put the brakes on for us. Young lady sitting out here in 3, she's going to be our champion showman.
Your champion senior showman goes to Natalie Scholl. We're going to go ahead and come in the ring with your adult showmanship, 22 and older.
Let's put our hands together for these group as adult showmen. I think all 4 of them are doing an outstanding job. Kiddos, if you're ringside, take notes. I think these 4 showmen are doing an outstanding job. Again, as we talked about, just some nitpicky things. I like them to be able to show the front end out of these things, get their feet and legs set square, be smooth in the way they transition out in motion. These exhibitors are doing an outstanding job. Again, I think maybe just some nitpicky things. I think there's one how they just kind of separate yourself, just making it look easy. Just staying cool, calm, and collected, never getting too nervous out here, never missing a beat in terms of feet and leg placement and where their head and neck come out of their shoulder. Young lady out of the back with the dapple does, you're going to be your champion showman.
Your champion adult showman is Madison Claymeyer. You know, we're closing up the show here today. I want to make sure to share a special thank you to our judge, Clint Dimmitt, for coming out here from San Angelo to judge this show. And our superintendent, Jamie Fugate, and all the people that makes this possible. If we can, let's give them all a round of applause. Thank you for coming out today. Y'all have a great day.